Yesterday, I faced by far the worst boss in the game.
I thought it took me like 4 hours.
This boss friggin' sucked.
So, public sentiment is mostly positive. Yeah. Alright, yeah, I can see public sentiment is actually people wanting to publicly execute this fat-ass frog, which is a little disappointing to me since I actually quite liked the fight. Therefore, I'm gonna throw myself on top of the grenade here to try and protect my goat. From what I see, there are around 4 main complaints people throw around, and I'll be doing my best to convince you that these are actually dumb and or stupid, and also sometimes dumb and or stupid. I've seen a lot of people complaining about the arena, and I understand where the complaints are coming from. Trust me, I do. But I also think it's a good design. I'm getting ahead of myself. What does it even look like? Well, when you walk in, you're able to stand on a slight ledge overlooking a floor that's completely filled up with maggot water. There are then 2 platforms in the middle in which, thankfully, they don't sink. If they sunk, that would make the arena genuinely ass. And the door platform is also mirrored on the other side of the arena, with obviously the exit door. And it's also, importantly, pretty tall, allowing for a good amount of aerial movement. A lot of people despise this arena for the maggot water and the spread out and uneven nature of places you can actually stand on. And I never really understood that, since everything in it has a place and a reason to be there, and nothing's just arbitrarily thrown in there to make it harder. The maggot water is a very contentious point. Obviously, it's very annoying, but it's obvious why it's there. It's the entire zone's shtick. That'd be like fighting... What the fuck did I... Oh my god, what the fuck did I write? Hold on. Rorthomaguth. That'd be like fighting Rorthomaguth, the Maglum. That'd be like fighting Rorthomaguth, the... That'd be like fighting Rorthomaguth, That'd be like fighting Rorthomaguth, the Magma Lord, and complaining there's lava in the arena. In the topic of the platforms being different altitudes from each other, do you want the fight to be harder? Genuinely, I don't see that many people actually complaining about this part, but I've seen a bit too many talk about how the fight would be better with a regular arena floor, and how. We'll get to see how it absolutely makes the whole thing 10 times easier just having those raised platforms, but how would it make for a better fight? That's like saying Fourth Chorus would be more engaging if he was just in a normal boxed arena and slammed a solid floor and no lava at the bottom. That's like half the fight gone. The water's there to not let you just dash around the arena and trivialize the fight, and the raised platforms are so you can actually hit things. I don't know, man. I feel like I might be convincing myself that people said this when nobody actually said this, because it's such a dumb complaint. It feels like I'm just strawmanning. Anyway, there's more I can say about the arena, but that's more suitable for other sections. This is the point that I most understand people being a little pissed about. I get it. The gauntlets before bosses are usually just a pain, and it's also the case here, yeah. But after a while, despite how annoying they seem, I actually find that the enemies are extremely easy to deal with. Normally, the 2 fucking war criminals that show up are the bane of my existence going through bile water, but in the arena they've suddenly become extremely manageable. Not only is there a very clear indication of when and where they will pop out of the water, it's at the same height each time inside a very tall arena. So it's quite simple to just catch them where they pop out and pogo off them. They don't have any way of attacking upwards, so you're completely safe during it as long as you don't whiff your down slash, and they usually die within 3 or 4 pogos, depending on your needle's strength. So if you're fast enough, you can sometimes one-cycle them. Eventually, the gauntlet just becomes free soul in preparation for Groal himself. Oh, I guess I should also mention those fuck-ass bioflies or whatever they're called. Yeah, those aren't really a threat outside of the arena, so they obviously aren't one inside either. Now finally, after you've slogged through bile water and murdered the gauntlet for the umpteenth time, the big boy himself, Groal, finally decides to spring out of the water and fight you himself. Groal does 2 masks by default, surprise, surprise, how could I have seen this coming? And has 3 attacks in phase 1, turning to 4 in phase 2. His first attack is where he spits 2 globs of poison gunk, where if they hit a surface, they bounce 1 and then stay in the air for a little bit until they explode. If the balls hit the water, however, they kind of just sink into the muck and don't do anything. His next attack is where he tries to suck you off, or tries to suck you on, actually, since if you get too close, he swallows you and you have to button mash to get out. Attack numero 3 actually has a few different variations. Groal first leaps up and swan dives into the maggots before one of 3 things happens. Scenario 1, 2 of either the exploding knife fellas or the downward spear fellas, I don't know their names, hop out of the water like they did in the gauntlet, but this time after they do a single attack, they just hop back in the water. Scenario 2 is where you hear a little trap being triggered and a large spike ball swings across the stage. Scenario 3 is actually the most interesting, where after he jumps into the water, jack shit happens and he just comes back out. After you get his health low enough, he enters phase 2, which is signaled by him screaming and using Vengeful Spirit. What the fuck? Yeah, for some reason this random ass frog bastard has what looks to be Vengeful Spirit from Hollow Knight. Did the dead ass shaman teach him? Fucking why? Anyways, the attack works by him glowing white and sending out either 2 or 3 blasts horizontally while moving vertically to where Hornet currently is. Okay. Now that we know how the fight works, let's get on to the complaints I've seen about the attacks. First, the gunk globs. I haven't seen anyone complain about that, actually. Those are fine, I guess. But the suck I have seen people complain about. Specifically with how difficult it is to get out of the way on the platforms without running into the water. And to that I say, yeah, that's why it's an attack. If it was just a flat surface, the attack would be piss easy to avoid. You actually have to learn when it ends so you can jump and have your wings ready so you don't swan dive into the water. If you're super struggling to learn the timing, here's what I do. I just jump as soon as it starts, air dash, jump when you're on the platform, and use your wings. Then jump when you're on the platform and use your wings, and by that time it should be over. It's all about learning the attack patterns, timing, positioning, how the arena works, how you can use it to your advantage. Like, I don't know. Like this other game, Hollow Knight Silk Song, the entire rest of the fucking game. Okay. Anyways, the dive attack. The summoned minions are easy to deal with. Just as easy in the gauntlet, even easier since they dip after they attack you a single time. The trap I've seen people get fucking absolutely pissed over for some reason, which I'm very confused at. I think it's kind of awesome that a boss is actually using traps in a fight and that it's well executed. The ball is pretty small, so you can easily jump over it even without double jump. It's not too terribly fast to where it's unreactable. It is very telegraphed by the ceiling shaking for a couple seconds before it comes down. And if you don't want to dodge it, you can just stand by the doors and it completely misses you. I'm not sure why people don't like this attack. Genuinely, if you hate the ball, please let me know in the comments. I'm kind of confused what people are mad about. Option 3 is what you want though. Jack shit. Basically just gives you a free hit when he comes back up. Now I should mention, when he's starting that attack, the little jump into a swan dive he does, yeah, that's the only part of the boss I'll say is unfortunately kind of bullshit. There's 0 windup for it, so it's nigh unreactable, and since he does 2 masks contact damage, it's really punishing to try and pogo on top of him. Normally, I'd be all for punishing attacks if you're doing a specific strat, like pogoing, but I like it when there's an actual counter attack to deal with it and not just the boss moving upwards quicker than you can react. I think this bit would benefit from a small windup or alternatively a scream beforehand where he like releases an aura of bile water around him and it can take away a couple notches of silk and blow you back. That would still punish pogos while actually being pretty fair to deal with. Finally, we have Vengeful Spirit. Sick attack, dare I say, and I haven't really seen anyone complain about it. I feel like actually I might have seen one guy complain about it, but I didn't really retain the information of the message. So if you have a problem with that attack, then tell me what your problem is. I can't find anything that's wrong with it, but maybe you can. Okay, time for the big one. Actually, the walk back isn't that bad. Yeah, I'm fucking with you. It's basically Chinese water torture. Yeah, I'm not gonna try and argue that this run back isn't anything but horrible. I think this is actually the only reason people dislike the boss, and everything else just seems bad due to the pressure you have to not die and walk across the continent to get another try. I mean, look at this. The bench is on the other side of bile water. Oh, but there's actually a closer bench. Yeah, how astute. A bench which is hidden from sight, still far as hell away, and 9 times out of 10, when you're trying to leave the bench area, you're just gonna fall in maggot water. No matter what bench, the run back is so goddamn annoying. Now, the run back is actually the worst for more reasons than it just being grueling and long. Let's take a look at another disliked run back, the Climb the Last Judge. This actually, I would say, controversially, is a pretty good run back. If you're going the way you would on your first ascent up, yeah, it'd get really annoying really fast, but that's just the thing. There are so many ways to make the climb so much faster, so where your first time it took like a minute of you meandering around, trying to find your way up, you can eventually get that down to like 15-20 seconds when you actually learn the pathing and where to wall jump and where you need to go. Groal has none of that. You just kind of gotta book it through annoying ass enemies and annoying terrain. If they made some sort of shortcut, it would at least be tolerable, but right now it's horrendous. Well, with that said, I give the Groal fight an 8 out of 10. It's not the best fight in the game, but it's pretty cinematic and quite fair once you actually learn it. But then I take the run back into account and it's a 4 out of 10. Team Cherry, just put a bench in the room before him. It's a simple thing I ask, so Groal will no longer be the most annoying bastard in the universe to fight. Okay, hopefully I change your opinion on honestly one of my favorite bosses. And you know what, let's get this to 6 quintillion views so Team Cherry sees it and adds a goddamn bench. Okay, that's it. Bye bye.